Well, hello, class, and welcome to week 5 of Theology of Social Justice and Righteousness from Moody Bible Distance Learning. This is Professor Jeff, your fearless leader, and as you can see, my crutches are on the wall. I no longer need them. I have my brace, and I'm actually doing rehab in the pool now, and I'm doing better. So thank you for your emails, checking on me. I really do appreciate that. I wanted to start out this week by just telling you that I'm a little concerned. Last week in my video announcement, at the very end, I actually asked you guys to do something for me, to email me some information, and only 2 out of 9 students did that. And so then I start thinking, are they watching the videos? Maybe there's something wrong with the video. There's all kinds of things that kind of run through my head. So I just want to encourage you, make sure you're reading my announcements, make sure you're watching the videos. Week 5. We're going to transition to Perry's article and talk about some theistic approaches to social justice, and in your discussion boards especially, I'm really looking forward to that because you're going to talk about, in fact, I have it right here. You're going to talk about, obviously there are more than theistic worldviews possibilities. Is Perry arguing all theistic options are equal viable? Does Islam stand on equal footing with Christianity in terms of how easily social justice fits into the worldview narrative? And so I'm really excited about you guys kind of digging into that and seeing what you think. So I did want to tell you that several of you asked me what I thought about last week's discussion board, Matthew 6:33, and I'll tell you my conclusion. It's a bit like replay in the football, in the NFL, right? In order to overturn a call, it has to be what's called incontrovertible evidence. You got to really be able to see it. If you fumbled the ball, it hit the ground, you got to really be able to see that, because if you can't, if it's not incontrovertible, then the call stands. And that's how I approach Matthew 6:33. I do not believe that the evidence is incontrovertible to change it to righteousness. And let me just tell you almost the simplest reason why. Because the ESV that I trust translates it as righteousness. And what was interesting was many of you, after simply reading Waterstorff's chapter, were willing to go WWE on the ESV and NIV translators. These men are much more brilliant than I am, and I know that they considered the different words and they chose righteousness. I think Waterstorff's definition of righteousness is way too narrow. I love what Lindsay said. She said he's actually dramatic about it. I might even agree. What I think happens is that when we read something, it's the freshest thing on our mind. And then we kind of look at things through that lens. And I think that's what some happen today. Now, here's the deal. Righteousness obviously contains justice, right? They're not mutually exclusive. And in fact, I brought up the message. And I don't preach from the message, but I love the message. And this is Matthew 6:33 in the message. Steep your life in God reality, God initiative, God provisions. Don't worry about missing out. You'll find all your everyday human concerns to be met. I love that. Steep your life in God reality, God initiative, God provision. So that actually kind of has both, right? And so I would just say that righteousness, I think, is the most correct. But if you chose justice, I understand why you did, and many of you made your point, made a good point of that. I would like to just give a shout out to Kaylee and Lindsay, who I thought did an excellent job on the post this week, particularly with kind of the exegetical word study point of view. And so that's it. To me, it is the most correct word is righteousness. So, but you didn't lose any points if you said justice, because I was looking more of how you came to that conclusion. So I want to remind you to make sure to get your discussion boards in on Friday, and then to have 3 different interactions, 3 different times on the board. It can be with 2 people, but 3 different times on the board. I love what's happening on the board. We're getting to where it's not just good post. Now you guys are starting to discuss, and I love that. You're being very encouraging to each other, and I love that as well. So I'll leave you with just a funny story. Yesterday I was subbing in 4th grade, and we were talking about 9/11. And they were asking me, how old were you at 9/11? I said, well, 33. They said, well, okay, how long ago was that? I said, 15 years. I said, come on, 4th graders, do the math. How old am I now? And one of them actually got a piece of paper and she wrote all over the place and she said, I got it. She raised her hand and she said, 62. No, I'm not 62. Then another one of them told me, and I counted them, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. My great-great-great-great-great-grandfather was in the South Tower. And I asked him, was he 264 years old? Okay, so 4th graders are awesome. Today it was 7th graders. So you guys can pray for me because during the day I sub, and then I teach classes at night, and I'm building a private practice, and so this is kind of a busy time for me. I'm doing some more training as well. So that's it. Any prayer requests? Any questions? Please let me know. And that's it. Onward, upwards.